If you haven't already heard, the artificial intelligence chatbot named ChatGPT has been a viral sensation the past few months, and many people are becoming increasingly excited about the role that AI tools like this are going to play in the future. But I think that this excitement is majorly misplaced. The creators of ChatGPT are a leading artificial intelligence company called OpenAI, and they've been backed by billions of dollars from private investors. OpenAI released ChatGPT for open testing about a month ago, and it's been taking the internet by storm. And you can see that with one look at YouTube search results, which will show you a long list of videos claiming ways that you can use ChatGPT to get ahead. But is ChatGPT really such a great thing for people? Despite the narrative and hype, I'd argue that AI as a whole really isn't such a good thing for the economy or society. In fact, I think there are a lot of potential dangers with a tool like ChatGPT. For those of you that aren't familiar with how ChatGPT works or what it does, it's an artificial intelligence tool that, well, on second thought, why don't I let the AI tell you about itself? As you can see, ChatGPT can provide a wide variety of text outputs that vary based on the prompts that you give it. It can answer questions, assist with writing code, perform language translation, and has many more potential uses. It might not sound like such a big deal at first, but look at the things that it's capable of generating if you give it the right prompts. When I asked for code that detects when a stock's 50-day moving average crosses the 200-day moving average, it was able to create the code in hardly any time at all. When asked to translate Charles Dickens into Greek, it had no problem with that either. And it can help brainstorm ideas for different creative exercises quickly and with ease. While there's no denying that it's a very cool technology, ChatGPT is definitely not perfect. While its writing style is very convincing and human-like, ChatGPT can produce false information in its answers, which OpenAI freely admits. So the things that ChatGPT generates need to be fact-checked and tested before they are used for anything serious. But there's no denying that the speed that ChatGPT can generate content, code, translate, and perform other actions is simply way faster than a human could possibly do. And so while ChatGPT is by no means a perfect tool that is suddenly going to replace all office workers tomorrow, it's also true that it reflects the significant progress that's being made in artificial intelligence right now. This is a significant milestone in artificial intelligence, and future iterations of tools like this may improve the use cases and accuracy even more, to the point where these tools could start to replace a lot of human workers. And I think that's one of the major dangers that AI developments like ChatGPT pose for the economy and society as a whole. They are so fast, efficient, and versatile that eventually they could feasibly put a lot of workers out of jobs. Why would a company employ 10 workers to write content for their company's website when they might be able to use a product like ChatGPT to make the same amount of content with half of the employees? Or why would a company employ expensive software engineers if AI becomes reliable enough where it can write most code by itself? The issue is that AI like this will have majorly disruptive effects on the economy in a way that not even past technological developments have had. While it's true that advances in the past in things like manufacturing have eliminated many jobs, I think that artificial intelligence has the potential to eliminate jobs at a far greater scale than anything that we've seen come before it. This is because past technologies that have replaced human jobs have tended to be for specific functions and roles. For example, a self-checkout machine in a store can only perform the task of checking customers out, so it eliminates cashiers' jobs, but it can't eliminate other jobs in the store. This is an example of how particular machines have been replacing specific jobs gradually, and that's how it's worked up until now. What's different about AI and the goals of artificial intelligence companies like OpenAI is that they are focused on creating artificial general intelligence, or AGI as it's commonly referred to. Artificial general intelligence can best be summarized as creating an AI that is able to perform any task that a human is capable of doing. While you might think that all of this sounds far-fetched and that AI replacing human jobs is not as big of a threat as what I'm claiming here, developing artificial general intelligence is the explicit goal of most artificial intelligence companies like OpenAI. OpenAI literally says on their website and company charter that they are working towards making, quote, highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at most economically valuable work, unquote. Unlike past technologies which have eliminated specific jobs in the economy, if artificial intelligence companies are ever able to truly accomplish their AGI aspirations, they will be by definition capable of replacing most human jobs. And I think that's a very dangerous goal for AI companies to actively be trying to replace the role of most people in the economy. The amount of economic disruption that artificial intelligence can create is being underestimated by many people. If lots of the work that is currently being done by employees is done by AI in the future, it's unclear what opportunities people will even have for employment in order to earn money if artificial intelligence can replace them at a cheaper cost. This has the potential to create widespread unemployment, with no clear alternative employment options due to the fact that AGI could theoretically fill most of the jobs done by humans. This is a big problem for the economy because this is uncharted territory. There is no historical precedent for a healthy and stable economy with high levels of unemployment. It just doesn't happen. Unemployed people don't have wages and have to carefully save their money for essentials. So high unemployment leads to low consumer spending and economic activity. Simply put, widespread unemployment is a bad thing for the economy and societal health and well-being as a whole. Shocking, I know. While some people might argue that there could be a way to work around this issue of unemployment caused by AI, it's uncharted territory, and there's no guarantee that any solution would work well. The more likely scenario in my mind is that AI makes many of the problems we are already facing a lot worse. For example, income inequality and a shrinking middle class are problems that have been growing steadily the past several decades, and AI seems likely to accelerate this trend as individuals at AI companies make lots of money while putting most workers out of a job. If an artificial intelligence company ever reaches their goals, to the point where their technology is performing all or most work in the economy, they will have become the biggest monopoly that's ever existed. This obviously should raise major red flags for most people. If AGI is actually developed, what are you going to do with the majority of the population that suddenly have no job and no income because AI is doing everything that they used to do at a cheaper price? If you want to know what the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, thinks about this problem, he penned an essay that essentially claimed that AI will create so much wealth that it will allow AI companies to create a universal basic income. So his solution amounts to offering $13,500 a year to people as a sort of consolation prize for artificial intelligence replacing everyone's jobs and taking everyone's financial independence. I think that critics and economists have rightly pointed out that this ideology surrounding AI that is pervasive in parts of Silicon Valley is dangerous. My view tends to agree with this anonymous industry source cited by CNBC, who I think correctly summarized that Altman, quote, envisions a world wherein he and his AI CEO peers become so immensely powerful that they run every non-AI company employing people out of business, and every American worker to unemployment. So powerful that a percentage of OpenAI's and its peers' income could bankroll universal basic income for every citizen of America. End quote. And despite Sam Altman trying to paint a narrative of wanting to help people with AI, the universal basic income idea is just a bait and switch to distract from the fact that these companies are trying to monopolize all labor in general, and that AI companies like his stand to gain the most from this future. And let that concept of a monopoly on labor sink in for a second. One technology accounting for most work in the economy. That's crazy. And trading $13,500 a year for your job buys you what? Maybe a week's worth of rent in San Francisco at this point? Sounds like a fair trade, Sam. Way to look out for the little guy. Besides artificial intelligence being a threat to the economy and workers, a related issue that I think is particularly concerning about ChatGPT and companies like OpenAI that are pioneering artificial intelligence is that these systems are being created and released to the public nonchalantly. ChatGPT alone has massive economic and societal implications. Look no further than the teachers in schools that are scrambling right now to figure out how to prevent students from submitting assignments that were completed by ChatGPT. And yet, OpenAI made the decision by itself to release ChatGPT to the public, without any oversight or outside input or consideration at all. With the amount of potential disruption that AI can create, and how difficult it is to see what the future of artificial intelligence holds, it's shocking to me how little regulation or oversight there is on the AI industry. Now, I know that you may be thinking that private companies have the right to make and release products, and I do agree with this. But I also think that it's important to note that companies are not free from regulatory considerations, especially when their products have the potential to be extremely harmful or monopolistic. I know that we often don't think of this type of regulation when it comes to tech, but look to the pharmaceutical industry for an example of the type of regulation that I'm talking about. Pharmaceutical companies have lots of regulation, testing, and clinical trials that the government is involved with before a pharmaceutical company is allowed to release a new drug to the public. These companies have to go through a lengthy process of clinical trials with regulatory oversight to prove to the government that their product is reasonably safe for human use and beneficial to society as a whole before they are able to release their product to the market and general public. I think it's reasonable that development of artificial intelligence should have some sort of regulatory oversight, since it has just as big of an impact on the health and well-being of society. The potential effects of these artificial intelligence systems are uncharted territory and have massive implications for the global economy, and they should not be taken lightly. The fact that a company like OpenAI can casually release something majorly disruptive like ChatGPT out into the general public and then just step back into the background is concerning in my opinion. Decisions like this should not be made lightly or lie solely with individual executives and big tech companies who stand to gain the most. As if there weren't enough things to be concerned about with AI, another massive issue with AI systems is that they're built off of massive amounts of data that is scraped from the internet and used to train AI models like ChatGPT. AI systems are essentially being trained using massive amounts of articles and images that were made by real people in order to build these AI systems. So the reason ChatGPT is able to write and answer questions in a way that seems human-like is because it was fed insane amounts of data in the form of articles that were created by real human authors. It's then able to synthesize all of these articles in its dataset to help it answer questions and prompts that are given to it. In a similar way, artificial intelligence art generation programs like OpenAI's DALL-E can only generate images because of the massive amounts of real works of art from artists that have been fed to the AI's dataset. So this raises a massive copyright question as well about whether the way AI companies are training their platforms is even legal in the first place, or if they are violating copyright law on a massive scale by using all of this data to build their AI without any sort of licensing or permission at all. There is currently a lawsuit against OpenAI, Microsoft, and GitHub on this very question. The lawyer prosecuting this case argues that the current state of AI is similar to the Napster era of music, which was illegal and majorly infringed on music copyright. In this comparison, he argues that AI companies are doing similarly illegal things that violate copyright law, and that they need to license the data that they are using. I'm inclined to agree with the prosecution that it does not seem like the way AI systems are being developed falls under fair use, and I think there does need to be some form of licensing. It seems to me like AI companies have taken the approach that it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. Regardless of which opinion you personally hold on the legality of this, the outcome of cases like these will have massive implications for the future of AI. As another point to be cautious about, I think it's also important to realize that ChatGPT and AI programs work in ways that aren't even entirely clear to the engineers that are building them, and I think that presents a major dilemma. These artificial intelligence systems are being given massive data sets, and are being tasked to use the data they have available to complete certain prompts. The AI then interprets the data inputs it has and generates potential outputs to the prompt, which are then reviewed by OpenAI employees and ranked from best to worst, which gives the AI feedback that it uses to inform its future answers. So OpenAI's trainers are conditioning ChatGPT to use its data set in a way that they determine to be useful, by giving positive feedback to the outputs that they deem useful and negative feedback to the less useful outputs. Through this process, the AI can adapt the outputs it is generating over time based on the human feedback it's getting from OpenAI employees. But here's the catch with the system. The actual process that the artificial intelligence uses to turn its inputs into any particular output is very unclear to even the system's architects. This makes it impossible to tell how the AI actually arrives at any answer it provides, as it's essentially unknown. All the AI's trainers are doing is telling the AI whether an output is a desired outcome or an undesired outcome, but they have no insight into how the AI even used its dataset to arrive at that output. This is not good because AI researchers are essentially building a black box here. The inputs given to the AI are known, and the outputs the AI returns are known, but the internal workings of how the AI transforms the data inputs it has to an output are not comprehensible even to people within the company. These AI systems are a black box that even the creators know very little about. Massive amounts of data are being fed into the AI, and researchers are attempting to train it to use those data inputs in a way that generates useful answers. But the actual process that the AI uses to give you a particular answer is fundamentally unknown. And that's very problematic in my opinion. If companies and governments begin to rely on artificial intelligence even more for important forms of decision making, it becomes important to know how and why an AI recommended a course of action. Because make no mistake, AI does get plenty of things wrong. There are lots of real-world examples of mistakes made by systems like these. For example, an innocent man was once arrested due to facial recognition software mistaking him for a wanted bank robber. And a judge once doubled a person's sentence for a relatively minor crime because an algorithm flagged them as being an increased risk for committing violent crime in the future. But making decisions like these based on artificial intelligence is problematic, because how do you actually know that any of these recommendations can be trusted if the decision-making process being used by a machine is unknown and not transparent? As OpenAI admits, systems like ChatGPT get things wrong and can produce false information. AI makes this problem worse because its inner workings are opaque by nature and are not transparent at all. So if it's not possible to see how AI arrives at a recommendation, how can it be trusted for any important decisions? Don't get me wrong, ChatGPT is certainly a very cool tool that has a wide variety of potentially beneficial applications. But it's clear to me that there are a lot of potential problems for society and the economy that AI brings that need to be taken seriously by regulators now. And this will only continue to be more of an issue as AI research becomes even more advanced. If artificial general intelligence is ever reached, the world will look very different, and I don't think it will necessarily be for the better. But be sure to let me know what you think about ChatGPT and AI companies in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more finance-related content. Thanks.